Nah. Maybe. Okay. Tech boy 1, 2, 3. Nah. What was it? What was it?
Hi there. I've heard you've got problems with remembering your password.
How did you know? Wait a second. Who are you and what are you doing here?
I'm Dashlane, and I'm sponsoring this video.
Wait, you can do that?
Oh, I can do much more than that. Do you feel like this? And you want to feel like this?
Stop telling me how I feel.
Dashlane, me, makes it easy to remember everything. I autofill your personal info like addresses, credit cards, passwords, you name it, I remember it. It makes online checkout a breeze.
Whoa. Wait a second. You remember my passwords? That doesn't feel safe.
I can generate super strong passwords and replace your techboy123 that you use on almost every single site. Plus, all the passwords that you do store with me are encrypted, making a password manager the safest place to store your info.
Aha, see, that's the thing. I can't remember my username.
I can, and I do. And I can fill out all the fields for you when checking out online.
But I use multiple devices, and it's not like you can do that.
You don't need to worry about that. I work on multiple devices, and the first device is for free. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I also include a full VPN service.
So, where do I find more information about it?
All you have to do is go to dashlane.com/technotice to get Dashlane for free on your first device. Then, if you want to go premium, use the code TechNotice for 25% off.
Hey, wait a second. You've already set that up. Who are you?
I'm Dashlane.
Welcome my friends, another PC build. Let's do it. So this time, the whole reason or the whole point of building this PC is, you know, in September, depends when you're watching this video, we're expecting some new GPUs from AMD as well as Nvidia. The new 3000 series Nvidia cards, some new ones from AMD as well as new processors from AMD. So at this time, a lot of people are actually suggesting or advising you not to build a PC. But let's say if you need to build a PC and maybe use something, what is the best PC to build in the meantime without wasting any money on the parts or wrong parts that you have to swap out later? So this is the build. So let's start the build. As always, I'm always starting with the power supply. So while we're building this, I'm trying to talk you through why I've actually used these parts as well and why I think this is really good. I'm going to put some of these. So this is the Cooler Master 500 watt. It's a non-modular power supply. It's quite powerful and it's quite cheap at the moment as well. I'm going to leave all the links in the description of the parts we're using over here, but this is like a very good value or bang for buck value. But when I'm always looking for power supplies, I'm always kind of looking for good deals, because sometimes you can get a very, very good deal on a power supply that should cost a lot. Like if you've seen my PC build of the, you know, Knight Rider red and black PC build, then that PC power supply should have cost actually double the amount, and it looks like overkill for that budget, but because I got a good deal, I just went with this one. So non-modular, you know, just loads of wires and this over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug that one in first to get a bit of earth to our body. It's turned on over here as well. So now when we touch this frame over here, we should be earthed. I'm just going to leave it on the side over here, and time to time just touch it to get myself earthed. The screws on the power supply box that we're going to need, I'm going to just put them in the back over there for now. The motherboard. So the power supply, it's 500 watt, so it's quite powerful, not out there, but it can actually support quite a few of the upgrades if you want to upgrade like your GPU or CPU, and you don't have to change your power supply if you want to upgrade. So that's why I think it's quite a good power supply. This motherboard, for the price of the build that we're doing, is completely overkill if you want the best bang for your buck, because that motherboard doesn't necessarily give you like faster computer performance, but it's very, very future-proof because it's a B450 motherboard. It supports AMD processors, Ryzen processors, the 3rd gen, as well as the upcoming 4th gen. At least that's what the AMD has said. So we're just going to take this out over here. M.2 extension, we might need that, or it's like the standoff. Might need that. And is there an M.2 screw somewhere? Oh, there it is. That's what we need. So I'll put these on the side and the back. Like I mentioned, this motherboard is a bit of an overkill in this like price bracket, but the reason why I got this motherboard is so that it would be very, very future proof. Okay, put it on the case over here in terms of what you want to do, because when you want to upgrade your CPU or GPU or anything in here, you don't need to change your motherboard, and that's why I wanted to go with this motherboard. There's like very good cooling for the VRAM as well, and it looks very, very stealth. You've got 4 DIMM slots over here and 2 M.2 slots over there, so quite good features on the motherboard. Already pre-installed I/O shield. Let's start with the processor. Now, you might think, what processor did you go with this? This one over here is a Radeon 3400G, so 3400G. And you might think this is a 3rd generation Ryzen because it's 3, but it actually isn't. So this over here is a 4-core, 8-thread processor. But not only that, it also has a graphics card built in. So it's an APU, not just CPU. CPU cooler. So this one over here has the graphics card built in, and that's why we're gonna go with this CPU, because you can actually use this actual system while, you know, waiting for the upgraded CPUs, because you can use the upgraded CPUs with this motherboard. And in the meantime, you know, do a bit of editing with this. Probably you have to use proxies. Stay tuned for the next video where we do all the benchmarks, you know, what this PC can do. But in this episode, we're just gonna build this. But just a very good CPU while you're waiting for the new one, because if you get a new one, you don't lose a lot of money when going with this CPU. Whoa, that is heavy, honestly. I think this is heavier than usual. It's like holding a big block of metal in your hand. It's not usually that heavy. By going with this CPU, you don't have to have a graphics card in order to get your computer working. So if I would have gone with like more powerful CPU, maybe I could have actually fit in this build Ryzen 3600, like a 6-core processor, much more powerful. But that means I have to go with a very cheap graphics card, which doesn't actually help us, doesn't give us, you know, very, very quickly you're going to have to upgrade your graphics card and you're going to lose the money you spent on the graphics card. The same with the CPU. If you want to go with the 4000 series CPUs that are coming up, you're actually losing the money on the CPU of the 3600X. And that's why we're going with this one. And that one cost me £130 or something like that. So whatever that is in the dollars, that's why I'm going with this one. So opening up the CPU socket over here. Boom. As always, remember, CPU socket, corner, lining up the corners. There's one corner over there, and then I've got another corner over here. Get a closer up shot over here. How we're gonna install this. Just slots in there. Don't need to press down. That's it. Gonna push that back down. Before we're gonna go to the cooler, we're probably gonna have to undo these brackets. Yes, the brackets, have to get them off. CPU, yeah, this one goes straight on. The thermal paste is this time is quite well applied as well, which means there's no like dust or sand in there, so I don't need to repaste it, and so we can just use this one. So we're gonna have to take these brackets off because that screws straight into there. We're gonna do that in a moment. Before we're gonna do that, we wanna install the RAM and the SSD that we've got over here. So RAM. What RAM did you go with? This is an ugly green stick of RAM over here, but the reason we're going with this one is it's all this PC, if you didn't know this already, costs the price of Mac wheels. So it costs £400, 414 I paid with this. I wasn't looking for particular deals anywhere. I just literally put them in the cart on Amazon and it cost £414. Mac wheels are £400. So we're going with this one stick of 16 gigabytes of memory. It is not the fastest memory, it's 2666. megahertz. By going with one stick, you have incredible upgrade options if you need to upgrade later. Now, if you can squeeze a little bit more out of this, then I recommend going with like Corsair engines or Crucial Ballistics or something like that. That can offer you like more 3000 plus megahertz memory, because Ryzen CPUs love faster memory. Just gives you a little bit of that, a little bit extra of that snappiness. But this time we're going to go with one stick. I know this processor and this motherboard has dual channel memory, and we're not utilizing this the most way. But if I went with 2 channel memories, let's say 8 gigabytes and 8 gigabyte sticks, right? We're not getting amazingly more performance by going that way. And our upgrade options is already only, we've already occupied 2 slots, which means if I get another 8 plus 8, we're only at 32 gigabytes. And if you want to upgrade more, you're going to have to like, just throw your old sticks, things like that. Whereas this one, you can just throw with this one stick, or just keep adding more. If you keep adding 4 more of these, you're going to get 64 gigabytes of memory, which is quite a lot. It should work with just one stick in there, but I'm just going to double check on the motherboard which one it is. They're like golden rule is you're going to start to occupy the slots the furthest away from the CPU. So from here and then every other. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. But in here, it's actually slotted as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exactly on the side over here. I'm just going to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it is this slot. It doesn't say here, but we're going to install it over here. This socket over here, number 1. So basically, it's just labeled on the side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just follow that. This is crucial memory over here. Link in the description as well. Sorry, PC, that you're going to have to deal with this ugly green color. Take this out from the side. Line up the pins. That way. Ready? Next up, M.2 slot. Okay, over here we've got one M.2 slot that has the actual heatsink on, so we're going to use that one because that's the better slot. And let's have a look. Heatsink with thermal paste applied. Standoff and the screw will have to go over here because that holds on just the heatsink, unless you go with a very long M.2 drive, but mine isn't that long, so ours has to go over there, which means we're gonna have to use this standoff over there and that M.2 screw. So what M.2 drive did you go with? I went with something very, very cheap to get an M.2 drive over there. I could have gone with like SATA SSD or whatever, but our OS drive is 128 gigabytes NVMe drive. So it's a fast drive, okay? It can get the OS going and just keeps you going. If you need to upgrade, you can upgrade later, but it's just like a good starting point to get a fast, snappy OS drive. So extension goes on the 3rd slot on the motherboard over here. Okay, you see over here. Let's slot the M.2 drive in. It's green as well, so let's hide it underneath the heatsink. So that will be good. So this goes in over here like that. There we go. Slot in there, and when we push down, there it goes. So let's screw the M.2 in as well. So applying the heatsink is pretty simple. Just pull this blue off, slot it on there, and then just kind of line it up with the drive. It's all done. Next up, we're gonna have to install the CPU cooler over here. So we're gonna have to take these brackets off already installed, because that is for Ryzen 7, if I'm not mistaken. So a bit of a bigger screwdriver. So don't move the motherboard now because the backplate will just fall off. So this CPU cooler will actually just go on this way or that way. There's 2 ways you can install it, this way or the other way. I think this will be over the RAM. Do you want? I'm actually going this way because that will give us better cable management. Line it up with the screw holes over there, and then now just start screwing. Remember, diagonally we're going to screw it in. It's very clean over here because I didn't have to apply any thermal paste, so very easy application. Now the CPU fan, to show you over there, CPU fan goes over here, this slot on the top over here, Can you see? It's just next to the RAM slots over here. You can't miss it. It says CPU fan on it as well. Let's plug it in there. Let's take the stickers off. So basically now this system over here has a very kind of first step into very good motherboards. It's not X570 chipsets, but it's B450. So B450, then comes B550, and then X570 chipsets. But this one just has a lot of things for you. I think the motherboard offers quite a lot of features that you don't need to upgrade a motherboard without like wasting the money. So you can put like processors in there, even up to, you know, Ryzen 3950X if you wanted to. Yeah, so you've got 2 full slots, PCIe slots over here. One is X16, one is X4 lanes. Then we've got one small lane over here, and then another one, so 4 slots over there. That's why I went with this motherboard, to give you like the future-proofness and make the PC work at this point, but just give you a lot of potential for the future. If you want to upgrade anything, the money you spent on the motherboard does not go to waste. For the case, we went with the Corsair A75R Airflow case. So it's a very slick looking case as well as very good quality. So it's Corsair. It's quite budget. It comes with 3 fans pre-installed. So 1 on the back and 2 in the front. You can obviously move them around if you want to. We're going to adjust them a little bit. Good airflow, tempered glass panel, looks slick. The PSU and all the bottom things are hidden. Just good features, very good case, plus very, very cheap. So even if you put like a high-end PC in there, it's just going to give you all this, the good features and stuff like that. So as always, take all the panels off when installing the PC. Pretty cool design. Nothing fancy, but just adds like a cool little design to it. As you can see, there is mesh installed over here as well. Magnetic. Boom. Do you know what? We're actually going to leave these fans over here, there like that. These are 120mm fans, so we can have another one in the bottom over there if you wanted to, but because our main thing is in the middle over here, we're just going to leave these fans over there like that. So don't need to change anything from there. Let's take the front panel off as well. So leave the film on it. Always take that off last because you might scratch your glass. There is actually like a few different options of this exact same case. If you want to get it of different colors, I think. Yeah, you can get black versions or you can get like a different front panel one, but this one was cheapest and came with good fans installed. So in here we can see already there's like the rubber covers for the screw cables when they come out. Makes it very slick. You can put 2 SSDs in the front over there if you want. That's the 2.5-inch drives. You can actually install GPU vertically if you want. So audio, USB 3.0, reset switches, all that I'm going to put over there. Case screws are in the back over here. Let's take these out. Let's check on the motherboard the screws. We have 2 screws on the bottom, right? There's not in the corner, so we're gonna have to remove this. 2 standoffs we have to remove from here, okay? These corners, if you're doing exactly the same build, obviously it's a little bit wrong way at the moment, so upwards it will be this. So the top right corner and then bottom right corner have to be removed. Hey, we've got 2 on the bottom, they go over there. 3 in the middle, one of the middle one and top middle one have a nubbin on them. Let's put it in. In there, looking all the screws align, the middle one over there. So the pre-installed IO shield, everything looks very slick on the back as well. I like that. Let's do some motherboard screwing in, you know, you can't see me. I wouldn't screw them in like all the way. I would just put the screws in and then make sure that all screws go in. So there is 3 types of screws over here. One with quite a thick, big thread over here. So this is like the thick threads over here. So we don't want these because these are for like fans. The middle ones are the right screws. So basically they have like a bit of a smaller thread, but there is like a mushroom or big head for the motherboards. Then there is like another screws over here that are more like flat heads and then a little bit smaller
threads than the middle ones, but we want to use the middle ones because they just kind of tighten around the motherboard. So I'll do some screwing over here and then get back to you. Little update here when screwing on screws on the motherboard. So the way this motherboard works and how this case works is, if you're going with exactly the same build, is one motherboard screw goes over there, second one goes over there, then third one goes in the middle over there, fourth one in the middle over there, fifth one in the bottom corner over there, and sixth one over here. There is another screw hole in the middle over here, but the way this case has been built, there is no actual standoff screw hole over there, so we're just going to leave this one empty. All the other screws line up, so make sure you're going to take the 3 standoffs off that are all on the right side. So from the top corner over there, and then one over here, and then one on the bottom there. They don't actually hit, you know, but I think it's a cleaner look when you take them off. So now the only tip over here is when you start to put the motherboard 24-pin power cord in, then just hold the bottom of the motherboard. Don't press down on the motherboard, because the kind of the right edge of the motherboard is hanging a little bit in the air. So when pressing down this, you might damage this or break this, because the first screws are there. So there's about 6-7 centimeters of just like hanging in the air kind of thing. The same when doing SATA ports, you know, pressing these ones down or things. Just being careful with these sides of fans, or, you know, wires when plugging in these sides of the fans. The same with the RAM. Just I would, when you install the RAM, I would actually take the motherboard out from the case, install the upgraded RAM, and then put it back in there. So let's do a bit of the cabling now. We've got a few cables over here. This one over here goes for the USB-C USB 3 front USBs. So we're going to plug that one in on the motherboard over there, but we're going to push this back down because we want to plug the USB 3 in over there. So instead of the cable coming from the side, it's going to be cleaner look if we're going to put it through the bottom over there. So the USB-C cable, USB 3 cable, we're going to push that through the back, because we're going to deal with it later. Then we have this front audio panel. We're going to push that in the back there as well, because that's going to come out from this bottom corner over there and then plugs in on the top left, or sorry, bottom left corner. These are like the power switch and reset switches for the top over there. We're going to take these through the bottom as well, because it's much cleaner if we're going to put them through the bottom instead of coming from the side. I think you can see much less cable when putting them through from the bottom. Let's plug in the USB-C cable, okay? So that goes in the second port over here, if you see closer up, just below the Aurora's sign over there. As you can see, there's like a little dip on the top. Make sure that goes on the top and goes through that over there. So make sure that your pins are lined up before you're going to press down, because I've done this mistake before where like kind of thinking they're lined up and then just using the power, but one of the pins wasn't correctly lined up, and then I actually bent one of those pins that I had to straighten up, and just wasn't very nice process. You know, it's possible to fix, but in here, okay, that went in very nicely. So look at that. How clean is this look? Almost no cables you can see. Let's put the front audio cable. Rainbow colors cables. That goes through the bottom over there, okay? And then that goes in there as well. There's one pin that's missing over there, so make sure that is going to be lined up on there. As you can see, the bottom left corner is like the one that's missing. So the reset switches, let's put these through the bottom as well. So front power and LED and all these switches. Reset switch, power LED, and power LED minus. If you look down on the motherboard over there, there is actually like a guide that kind of shows you even without looking at the instructions. So you can actually even look there. There's like red and blue and green, and all of these are lined up. So you can actually just use that to kind of follow that. So let's see if I can see. The reset switch goes on the green. Okay, so we're going to put that in the bottom third and fourth pin. Okay, so if you just follow the colors, reset switch goes in the green.
Power switch goes on the top of the green one, so the red one, okay? Goes on the green one, and then the power LED plus and minus go on the top left corner, so into the yellow, okay? Now there's the wires for these two fans over here. So there's the upper fan and then the bottom fan, okay? So the upper fan, we're gonna plug into this upper part over here. So there's system fan, you can see over here, and then it goes over there. So I'm gonna put it through the next hole over there, okay? And then actually pull it back a little bit behind over the motherboard, something, and put it over there. And then hide it just behind the motherboard so that the cable is much more hidden. So now you see even less of the fan cable, if that makes sense. Now the bottom fan over here, because there's no more system fans on the side over here, we're gonna wanna put it on the bottom over there. By the way, don't worry about if your fan cable has like 3 holes, but then the motherboard has 4 pins. Just line up the pins that go. It's fine if one motherboard pin is empty. We're gonna put it through over this hole over there. So the fan cable comes through on the bottom over here, and then plug it on the bottom over there. And there we go. Let's tighten up this cable as well. So there we go. Front fan's installed. Now there is the back fan over here. The back fan is plugged in over there, right? But it goes through the bottom of this plastic Aorus. So if you put it through the top over there, it comes out from the bottom over here, and then it's like very clean, and then you can just hide your cables on the top over there without it being, like visible. You can just hide them over there. So it looks like much cleaner this way than this coming over here through this front over here. It just looks cleaner over here. All the motherboard and case fans, everything is connected. The last thing to do is the PSU. It goes in the back over there, but because all the cables are already connected, we're just gonna put this over here. So let's have a look. Which way are we gonna do this? I'm gonna go upside down with this so that the fan is on the bottom, because there is actual intake and filter on the bottom that, we can undo and clean. So we want it to pick up the cold air from the bottom and then, pick it up and push it up there. Okay, power supply screws, 4 screws that we put in the back over there. Pick them up now, and then let's screw these in. All the big bunch of cables over here we have, most of them we don't actually need. So if you want like a cleaner look, you can go with a modular power supply, which I'm going to leave in the link in the description if you want this. But we're on a $400 budget, so we're not gonna do that. We need the main kind of motherboard 24 pin, so that goes through, and then we're gonna need the CPU, which is here. Okay, the CPU, it says on it CPU. It's actually like a connection, so you can connect them, up. So now it's 8 pin, which we actually have for our CPU. And then the rest is like, SATA cables, or if you have Molex over here, we could easily just, rip this cable out. And then the graphics card, but we don't have a graphics card yet, so this is just gonna be empty over here. So CPU cable, we're gonna go and put through on the top over here. Motherboard cable goes through from the top over here. The motherboard, as I told you before, remember to do this very gently, because we don't want to damage the motherboard, because most likely you're going to have to press down quite hard on this. So, the clip or the pluckage over here goes outside of the motherboard. So we're just going to, let's bend this cable a little bit first, like that. I'm just going to put like my finger underneath there, so I know I can push down without it bending. That is weird. Did you see that, guys? It actually, the power supply wasn't even connected. Our Aorus LED there lit up. So, okay, there we go. It's in. Just be careful. Like I said, don't try to bend it without putting your finger underneath there. We want to be careful with that. And then CPU cable goes on the top over there. Ugh. So as you can see, all cables look very, very tidy. Motherboard, fans, everything looks beautiful. We're gonna have a nice, beautiful LEDs over there as well. So now let's go in the back of the case and let's sort this mess out over here. The case actually came with some zip ties or tweezers, as some might like to call them. Oh, sorry guys, I just had to do like this little correction. I realized that on this actual metal PC case, there's like a little opening or slot on this. Let me show you with this one. See that slot over there? So instead of putting the like case switches, power switch and LED switches and reset switch cables through that like rubber big slot over there, I put them through this opening on that white bit over there, and then it looks so much cleaner over here. Plus, you know, 200 megahertz on CPU if you do that. It's a joke. It's a joke. You know, it's a joke. So guys, it is all connected now. The last thing is, let's turn it on and see if it's actually going to work. Because we don't have a graphics card, there are slots on the motherboard over here. The HDMI that goes to the monitor, we're going to plug it into the motherboard. The moment of truth. Okay, switched on over there. A little flash on the motherboard happened. Okay, so the monitor is on. Let's hit the power switch and see what happens. Okay, we're getting LED lights over here. In the back over there, we have CPU, we have DRAM. Okay, VGA, very good. RAM got through. CPU, RAM, VGA. Okay, it says insert the boot media. And then let's boot the device. Okay, so we're gonna restart it. We're on Windows install, but I'm gonna do a reset over here. Like restart it again, because I want to get into the BIOS and just check before. So it's resetting. So I'm just hitting delete key. Let's see on the side over here, I think we can see CPU is going on. Memory is happening as well. So that looks like it's happening. Okay, we have the Windows install. Let me just quickly go, you know, next, and install the Windows, okay? And this is how you would build this type of PC. The Windows installation is happening here at the moment. And if you want to see some of the benchmarks and how good this computer is, you know, stay tuned for the next video. But the whole reason for making this build over here is if you need a PC whilst waiting for the new stuff to come out, because, you know, the motherboards, nothing's going to change there so much now because the B550 is out, so this prices won't change much on there. The process is what's going to change, and, you know, the RAMs might change, the RAM stick speed, but this is like a perfect configuration in my opinion while waiting for the big upgrade, because we haven't spent any money on the graphics card, so we're not losing any over there. So if you need to upgrade the CPU, all you have to do is take that one out. You actually might even get to sell it for like £100 or something like that. So you only lose like a 30 over there. Whilst if you went with a, you know, GPU over there as well, the graphics card, you know, you would probably lose another 100 or something like that over there. But at this point, we're actually saving all of it. And we have the graphics inside and the processor unit inside. It's an APU over there. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comment section below if you would have £400 to spend on a computer. What configuration would you spend? Would you have made any other choices? What do you guys think? Let me know. I'd love to know from you guys. So we'll see you in the comment section below. Adios. Bye-bye.